Well, good morning and welcome to Good Morning Uganda with us, the Fantastic Four, myself, Olive Monica Najuma, Chantal Olive Akandinda, Jerome Paul Sonko, and Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono. Now, there is a reason why I ended with Jerome Paul and then in a special way, Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. You see, if you're a man and you live in Afghanistan and you're in the security services, but you don't have a beard, you have been suspended. Yes, the Taliban have suspended over 200 men from security services on grounds of not having beards. So if you're a man, and I think here Ruben Pima is being attacked, why don't you have a beard? What are you saying for yourself? What's your defense? Good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you. I love your sweater.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm very fine.
Men of beards.
Actually, one of the things that I don't want to be violent, but makes a man is the beard. If you're a man and you don't have a beard.
So what are you saying?
Tradition here in Africa, wabanga mulenzi, but of course modernity has come up and certain things will excuse them, but why don't you have a beard in it?
So are you asking Famba, Godwin, Dev Saino? Who are you exactly asking this question?
I'm just as you're a man and you don't have a beard. A beard is not money that you have to make it. So,
so they should
there's someone who always asks me why I'm short. Now today
today you're asking him.
Why don't you have a beard?
Why don't you have a beard?
As men gather for fellowship, but good morning, our viewers, and thank you so much for waking up with us. It is Good Morning Uganda, your current affairs show. So much is happening, and today I'm excited, Olive, that in the Good Morning Uganda agenda, we are going to be having the Deputy ED, KCCA.
Yes.
Explain certain issues regarding Chitezi, and of course what has followed there. So our viewer, don't miss that.
Yes, indeed, don't miss that. Many questions are being asked regarding the crisis, the disaster, the aftermath of the Chitezi landfill crisis. Now, we will have some answers to those questions, so stick around. At 8 sharp, we will be having that conversation with the Deputy Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority. Now, going to Studio B, Jerome Paul Sonko, the man with a beard. Good morning.
Good morning to you, and I love the fact that you've mentioned that I have a beard and it's also growing. Okay. So meaning I have the chances. If at all I was in Afghanistan, I wouldn't be jobless now. I would have been promoted somehow because of the fact that I was naturally blessed with
okay, Sonko, I have divergent views. Some people are in my ear saying you don't have a beard.
Yeah.
And Chirabo here is saying, we know mutunta.
No, it is growing. And I know by this time next year, I will definitely have grown a serious beard that can put me in the league of gentlemen. I don't know why Chantal is still worried or concerned about my beard. But however small it is, it is still one that the Taliban would definitely say, okay, it is a Kickstarter, you can start from there.
Are you sure though?
Well, when you look at what they have on their side,
yes,
it is way bigger than mine. But at least they would know that in about 2 to 3 years, if I'm well fed and given to well fed.
I didn't know. I was 2 years old when I learned that for one to have a beard, they also have to be well fed. Now, Olive, Chantal, good morning, first of all.
Good morning.
Well, when you think about a man having a beard and against the development of the Taliban dismissing men without beards from their security services,
facial expression,
does Sonko's beard really count?
Well, if the point is to have a beard, then Sonko passes. Ask me why. There is someone out there who has a clear face with no beard, no hair on their face at all.
You're attacking someone.
No, I'm not attacking anyone. I'm speaking the truth.
Okay.
There is, and it's not one person. There is very many people out there, and this is according to genetics, according to a number of reasons. So Sonko would pass as someone who has a beard. Even Bebe Cool said, "Never kaba katono."
Wow, interesting, interesting. Anyway, welcome to our current affairs show where we delve deep into different issues. Among those, we will be launching into a conversation regarding for them to be able to, first of all, create jobs, but also to be ready for that job. To that, we have news that we have gathered for you over the last
with President Museveni, who will be joining other heads of state as they go for the China-Africa summit. But before that, President Museveni will join other African heads of state and their delegations in September this very year in China for the China-Africa summit. Ahead of the summit, the Chinese media channel CGTN is in Africa to profile prominent figures, with Uganda's President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni taking the lead. Gwan Gan, a political and current affairs journalist at CGTN, interviewed the president at State House on August 8th. In an exclusive interview with us, he shares his views on the benefits of Africa they can gain from the upcoming summit. Despite China being one of Africa's leading business and development partners, more efforts are needed to address challenges between the two regions. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni hopes that the summit will unlock potential in the fields of infrastructure, business, and sports. He further affirms that China, by meeting and engaging with African leaders, has no ambitions to politically dominate the continent. The China-Africa Summit is a forum that brings together over 48 African countries under one roof to deliberate on issues ranging from geopolitical and business to security. For Uganda, the president has delegated the vice president, Major retired Jessica Alupo, to lead Uganda's delegation to the summit.
Now, focusing on the judiciary has reported the disposal of 57,735 cases out of 219,573 cases registered during the fourth quarter. This performance improvement is attributed to increased sensitization, technology usage, enhanced customer care, and better staffing. For years, the judiciary has struggled with case backlogs that hinder access to justice for many Ugandans. But there have been improvements, with over 57,000 cases disposed of in the fourth quarter alone. This progress was highlighted in the latest performance report. The Judiciary Public Relations Officer James Eremye Mawanda attributed the improved performance to various reforms and strategies implemented by the judiciary. During the settlement week, 237 cases were resolved out of 847 considered for mediation. Deputy Registrar in charge of Alternative Dispute Resolution, Zuraika Nanteza, reported that 2 billion Uganda shillings was unlocked through the settlement week, which took place from August 5th to August 9th, 2024 in 10 courts across the country.
And moving on, State Minister for Finance in charge of general duties, Henry Musasizi, and officials from the Uganda Revenue Authority appeared before the Finance Committee of Parliament to provide information on tax payers, both entities and individuals seeking tax waivers. This follows a communication dated December 12, 2023, addressed to the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Annette Anita Among, from the Minister for Finance, Honourable Mathieu Kasaija. The communication was requesting Parliament's approval for the remittancy of tax liabilities for 8 entities, including universities. MPs requested and questioned the waiver request by the Ministry of Defence and Veteran Affairs for MSJ2E Investment Corporation Limited. The company seeks a waiver of 2.7 billion interest accrued during construction work at Kayaweta Military Training Barracks. The contractor faced investigations by the Inspectorate of Government and had its work suspended. Several members of parliament sought clarification on the criteria for granting waivers. An official from URA explained that they are to consider the overall impact of the business on the community and sometimes use third-party information for assessment. Other members of parliament expressed concern that the minister did not provide critical information such as the memorandum and article of association and audited accounts, which are essential for assessing a business health. According to URA, the information on the memorandum and article of association is held by the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, as URA focuses on directorship rather than ownership.
Now, lastly, the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology, in collaboration with partners, is implementing the agroecological innovations for smallholder pest management project. This initiative aims to equip smallholder farmers with technological skills for managing pests, specifically the fall armyworm, which has severely impacted agriculture production in the country since 2016. The fall armyworm, which invaded Uganda in 2016, affected agricultural production, leading to a 50% decline in crop yield. This pest has affected food insecurity for smallholder farmers who depended on maize and other crops for their livelihoods. The ICIPE, along with other partners, has developed climate-smart and environmentally friendly technologies to control the pest. The project will mainstream and ensure equal participation of gender in the value chain. ICIPE is conducting a two-day capacity building workshop for stakeholders to support those involved in project implementation. The fall armyworm caterpillars feed on leaves, stems, and reproductive parts of over 100 plant species. The pests have a 1-month lifespan. Now that does it for our local news. Chantal Olive, right about now, takes us through the international news stories.
Well, internationally, we start off with the U.S., where the Democratic National Convention is taking place and it's slated to go up to the 22nd of August, which happens to be tomorrow. Now, former United States President Barack Obama is set to take stage at the convention in a show of support for Kamala Harris in her 11th hour bid to become the country's next president come November's election. Obama posted on social media that his convention address last night would lay out what's at stake and why Harris and her running mate Tim Walz should be our next vice president. He said, the first black American ever elected to the White House, 63-year-old Obama retains massive influence and is a celebrated orator. He has thrown his considerable political capital behind Harris as she seeks to make history on November 5th and become the first woman and first person of black and South Asian descent to be elected president. Obama was preceded on stage in Chicago by his wife Michelle, who walked into the packed auditorium to raucous applause, cheers, and whistles. Hope is making a comeback, she said. Obama will outline what he believes will lift Harris to victory while also warning Democrats about the tough task they face over the next 11 weeks, a source familiar with the remarks told news agencies. Moving on, at least 52 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks across the Gaza Strip, including 12 at a Gaza City school and 9 at a crowded market area in Deir el-Bala. The United States top diplomat Antony Blinken urged stakeholders to get the Gaza ceasefire deal over the finish line now, as he ended his Middle East tour without an agreement between Israel and Hamas. Israel's Yedioth Ahronoth newspaper reported that the 6 Israeli captives whose bodies were recovered from Gaza on Tuesday likely died from a gas leak in a tunnel during an Israeli military attack on Khan Yunis, and at least 40,173 people have been killed and 92,857 wounded in Israel's war on Gaza. An estimated 1,139 people were killed in Israel during the Hamas-led attacks, and more than 200 were taken captive. Lastly, 8 police officers in Kenya have been suspended on suspicion of helping a suspected serial killer escape from custody, police says. In July, police said Collins Jumaisi Kalusha had confessed to the murders of 42 women, including his wife, since 2022. Mr. Kalusha's lawyer denied the claim, saying his client had been tortured to confess. He had been held at a police station since being arrested in July, but on Tuesday, police said that Mr. Kalusha and 12 others escaped after being aided by insiders. An incident report from the station says police discovered the detainees were missing at 5 p.m. local time when officers were serving breakfast. 5 a.m. local time. The 13 individuals escaped by cutting through a wire mesh roof and scaling a perimeter wall. The report added the 12 individuals who fled alongside Mr. Kalusha were Eritrean nationals detained for entering the country illegally. 8 officers on duty at the time have been suspended while investigations continue, police added. And that's it for our news, our international news this morning.
Well, thank you, Chantal. Now, Joram, what do you have for us from the dailies?
Well, there's something very chaotic with today's Daily Monitor. I'll start off with the New Vision to see what they have for us. With the New Vision, oil prospects in 14 more districts is the headline here, as area surveyed shows good conditions for hydrocarbon generation. Then you can read about the Chitezi rescue heroes who are telling their stories in today's New Vision. And then how security tracked key suspect in the Gaklan leader murder. That is a report you can follow up as well in today's New Vision. Now, off to the Daily Monitor. Now, the Daily Monitor is showing the state of garbage as the headline. Gulu City, there is Hoima City, Mbale City, Kabale Municipality, Kampala Capital City, Masindi Municipality, Jinja City, Masaka City, and Arua City, showing how the dumping sites of many of these cities look like, and it's not appealing at all. Now, the Westland, the Daily Monitor says that the collapse of a landfill in Chitezi has opened focus on the situation of rubbish management across the country, with findings showing that the nation is once vibrant and neat streets have devolved into open dumping grounds, burying beneath the mountains of trash, the pearl of Africa's beauty and innocence. Now, in the other news, how suspect in the Gaklan head murder ran out of luck. Also, scientists bank on ARV holiday to get AIDS cure. And in the other news, FDC Najana Nkumbi gears up to derail Katonga's forward march. And then in the home's perspective, when to pick kitchen fixtures and finishes. All of that is in the Daily Monitor. Now, with the Daily Nation, that is for the Kenyan perspective, why Mount Kenya leaders want 50% plus one rule abolished. And then revealed how rogue police-led suspects escape. Inside job, 8 officers detained pending investigations after a suspect escaped from the coolers. Now, bribery claims as Kawira fights hard for survival. Then in transport, the bus was faulty and police failed us. Survivors of Fato mega crash reveal in the latest report. Now, in education, journey to free education may have started, with MPs pushing for one kitty. That is also a report in the Daily Nation. Now, lastly, from our press review, the Citizen, win for Ruto as Kenya Supreme Court reinstates controversial Finance Act. Now, business recognition, Samia allows NMB's social investments. And the bigger headlines is that what Uganda's fuel importation via Dar es Salaam port means for Tanzania. Then there's the breakdown here as the Uganda National Oil Company In a statement last week, Proskovia Nabanja, who is the CEO, announced plans to import approximately 36 million liters of fuel per month through the Dar es Salaam port. Now that is a huge kind of development for the people of Tanzania. Now the comeback of Lukuvi and Kabudi, an election strategy for the Chama cha Mapinduzi ahead of the Tanzanian polls. That does it for our press review this morning.
Well, thank you, Jerem. Now, as Chantal shared, the Democratic National Convention in the United States is ongoing. And as we speak, Michelle Obama and former President Barack Obama have already addressed the convention. I would like to share some of the comments that they made. Now, we remember back in 2016, Michelle said, when they go low, we go high. But in her speech today, she did say, and I quote, this was of the former President Donald Trump. She said, his limited and narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who also happened to be black. And she continued to say, the 78-year-old billionaire who hasn't stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. Now, on his part, President Barack Obama said, it's been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that actually gotten worse now that he is afraid of losing to Kamala Harris. Well, it's getting hot in the United States, but we will stay here to watch and see who is going to become the president of that country, because whoever becomes the president of the United States affects our business down here in Uganda. Right, Robert?
100 times.
100 times.
Yes.
I'm curious to know what people on this team, who the people on this team would support if they had a chance. But we'll have this conversation off air. For now, we'll leave you with T.I. featuring Kerry Hilson, and this is Got Your Back.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning and welcome to Good Morning Uganda. With us, the Fantastic Four, myself, Olive Monica Najuma, Chantal Olive Akandinda, Joram Paul Sonko, and Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono. Now, there is a reason why I ended with Joram Paul and then in a special way, Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. You see, if you're a man and you live in Afghanistan and you're in the security services, but you don't have a beard, you have been suspended. Yes, the Taliban have suspended over 200 men from security services on grounds of not having beards. So if you're a man, and I think here Ruben Pima is being attacked, why don't you have a beard? What are you saying for yourself? What's your defense? Good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you. I love your sweater.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm very fine.
Men of beards.
Actually, one of the things that, I don't want to be violent, but makes a man is the beard. If you're a man and you don't have a beard.
So what are you saying?
Tradition here in Africa, wabanga mulenzi, but of course modernity has come up and certain things will excuse them, but why don't you have a beard in it?
So are you asking Famba, Godwin, Dev Saino? Who are you exactly asking this question?
I'm just as you're a man and you don't have a beard. A beard is not money that you have to make it. So,
so they should
you know,
have
there's someone who
transplants.
always asks me why I'm short. Now today
Today you're asking him.
Why don't you have a beard?
Why don't you have a beard?
As men gather for fellowship, but good morning, our viewers, and thank you so much for waking up with us. It is Good Morning Uganda, your current affairs show. So much is happening, and today I'm excited, Olive, that in the Good Morning Uganda agenda, we are going to be having the Deputy ED KCCA.
Yes.
Explain certain issues regarding Chitezi and of course what has followed there. So our viewer, don't miss that.
Yes, indeed, don't miss that. Many questions are being asked regarding the crisis, the disaster, the aftermath of the Chitezi landfill crisis. Now, we will have some answers to those questions, so stick around. At 8 sharp, we will be having that conversation with the Deputy Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority. Now, going to Studio B, Jerome Paul Sonko, the man with a beard. Good morning.
Good morning to you, and I love the fact that you've mentioned that I have a beard and it's also growing.
Okay.
So meaning I have the chances. If at all I was in Afghanistan, I wouldn't be jobless now. I would have been promoted somehow because of the fact that I was naturally blessed with
okay, Sonko, I have divergent views. Some people are in my ear saying you don't have a beard.
Yeah.
And Chirabo here is saying, we know mutunta.
No, it is growing. And I know by this time next year, I will definitely have grown a serious beard that can put me in the league of gentlemen. I don't know why Chantal is still worried or concerned about my, my beard. But however small it is, it is still one that the Taliban would definitely say, okay, it is a Kickstarter. You can start from there.
Are you sure though?
Well, when you look at what they have on their side,
yes,
it is way bigger than mine. But at least they would know that in about 2 to 3 years, if I'm well fed and given
Well fed.
I didn't know. I didn't.
Was brought to you by.
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Ankole segment. Learn about the fabrication of Ankole Kingdom from Nkore at the detriment of Mpororo states. What is the glue that holds together peoples of the beautiful village of milk and honey?
Ankole as a kingdom came about in 1901.
Ankole is a colonial fabrication.
And all these so small kingdoms were counties of the original Itara.
Ruhinda Ruanjunachi,
the son of Wamara Hanjanjojo Ruhabwera,
who was a Mtrezi.
There are times when we were Pamoja, the same people.
Tuko Pamoja? Catch this in Ishaka Bushenyi at Berlin Hotel on Saturday, 31st August, and in Barra at Las Vegas Garden Hotel on Sunday, 1st September 2024. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sevatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, the United Nations has advised the government of Uganda to enhance skilling of young people so as to prepare them for the job market in Uganda. Now, we know that our education system has a few problems, but we are hopeful that the new curriculum for O-level will maybe help to a degree because it is competence-based and probably it is one that will save our youth from just being theoretical learners, but also to become practical learners. I remember many years ago when I was in high school, one of the key issues we used to point out during answering of our exams was the education system is based on theory instead of practical, so we need to be more practical. Those used to be the answers that used to be churned out every other time when we were answering our exams. So we have reached a point where it is actually pivotal for the youth to have both hard and soft skills. Soft skills like customer care, public speaking, to mention but a few. And many employers say that many of our youth are unemployable because one, they have poor attitude, but also they lack many a quality skill to make them competitive in today's competitive job market. So that's where we are. My name is Olive Monica Najima. Right next to me is Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. In Studio B, I have Jerome Paul Sonko and Chantal Olive Akandinda. Now, Lady Chantal, I may not be the Queen of England, but I have given you the title. So anyway, going back to this conversation, in your personal perspective, why do you think it's crucial to skill the youth?
Well, Olive, depending on depending on the skills we are talking about, I believe even those that are no longer youth but are working in certain organizations, they need a certain set of skills. So skilling is very important because one, it's going to enhance someone's creativity, and it's also going to open someone's mind and kind of shift us from the kind of education that we are used to, where you just sit in class and cram and then get out and then now start struggling in a world that has become highly more practical than the usual. So I believe skilling is going to, skilling helps us, one, to identify talent. It helps us it gives us direction, because you will know what you can do and what you cannot do, and then you will know which direction you can take. And that, at the end of the day, translates into someone knowing that, listen, I may not be very good at which subject can I quote? Maybe science or SST or let's go to high school. Someone may not be good at say CRE, it was CRE, right? CRE or any other, but they know that they can use their hands. They can do carpentry, for example. They can braid hair, so they can do a salon. But also it goes to I can identify and say I can do engineering. And now some of these are both theoretical and practical. Someone also can be in position to identify that, listen, we've seen people that are dependent on their talent at the moment. But imagine these people do not get a chance to practice or even to do some training that enables them to sharpen their talent or their gifts. For example, do you know that someone who moderates events, for example, now we're going into public speaking.
Yes.
Someone who moderates events, if you are booked, let's say, a whole month, and you have some social events which usually happen on weekends, you're going to even earn more. You're going to earn someone's salary in one day.
Not a day, in a few
hours. Let's just put it a day, because you're putting in the movement, you're putting in, maybe you're in the salon, you're picking what to put on and stuff like that. So let's give it a day.
And speaking of salon, Chantal, maybe just to add to your point, do you realize how many young women and men that are making so much money in makeup?
That is very true. Now imagine if people had not been in position to identify what they could do and what it would be. Imagine all the people who are into makeup, let's say right now, they're also competing for the white-collar jobs. Imagine what that would look like. Imagine the people who are entrepreneurs right now. Imagine them also competing for the same jobs as the ones who are being churned out. Every single year we churn out new graduates. every single year there is those that were there before and they have not been able to get jobs as well. So at the end of the day, what skilling does is shift our minds off the white collar jobs and boost our creativity and also give us direction into what we can actually do and do it to the best of our abilities.
Well, thank you, Chantal. Now, the government of Uganda has initiated many projects into the skilling of young men and women. For instance, there is the presidential initiative for skilling the girl and boy child, but the United Nations says that more needs to be done so that we can tackle youth unemployment. As according to the census report, the preliminary report that we received of the census that was carried out in May this year, 70% of Uganda's population comprises of the youth. Now, the working age is between the people that are already in the job market or working age is around 14 to 64 years of age, which comprises over 55% of our population. And as Chantal put it, it means that all of these people cannot vie for the same thing. That's where skilling comes in. But Robert, I would like to ask you, what would be the detriment of not skilling our young people?
First, if you have educated people, but they're not employable,
yes,
there are a bigger problem than those that are not educated, but are not employable. Why? Because this person went to school with a belief that this investment, even their parents on the investment they are making, is going to better their lives, to give them employment. Now, when they come out of school and they don't have skills, psychologically, first and foremost, it's detrimental to this person. An educated, jobless person who has tried. If you remember some years back, there's a young girl who had a master's who flew up, I think, was it Workers' House? Said, I've looked for jobs for all this time. I did my first degree, went for the second one, have a master's. So psychologically, it has a lot of problems.
And all that is time and money.
Time and money. Economically.
Yes.
You know, this money would have been invested in something else. Maybe by a parent. It was invested in a... Because education is an investment.
It is.
And there are many parents who will tell you, Sinache nkuwadde.
That's true.
I've given you something that they cannot take away from you.
That's very true.
So now if this investment ends up being a wasted investment, then it is a problem. But two, on a larger scale, also if you are to access the levels of unemployment, how it's a burden to government. One, these are supposed to be people in the working arena and taxable by government. Now they are not working. You have so many youths, you boast of them. What do they contribute to the tax base of a country? To the economic transformation of the nation. They're not paying tax because they are not employable.
Yes. So they're not adding value to the country. They're not adding value to the country.
Yes, you boast of that youthful population. But also on the other side, the government expenditure when these unemployed youth, most of the elite, I'll give you an example of what happened in Kenya. Because they have the exposure, they have the knowledge, but they cannot earn. There is no time bomb as that nature of youth. You rather have this, I've not gone to school, because I have an excuse. I didn't go to school. I can fit in anything. But a person who is educated and not
they know what they can get, they know what they can add.
They're the ones who know their rights. Yes. They're the ones who know this. They're the ones who expect even certain things are supposed to be given to them because of the virtue that they went to
school. There is something that you usually say about the poor and the rich.
And finally,
what is that statement?
The poor will have nothing left to eat except the rich, because the rich will have eaten what belongs to the poor. Now, when we talk about skilling the youth, may I look at it in this perspective, Olive, that times have changed. Previously, our education system was working for that time. Why? A person would go to school to get employed. Because the drafters of our education system wanted people to help them extend their colonialism. That's why people tried to be secretaries, to be... And the population was... There were few people. So you study, there's a job for you. Now that system that trains people to work for others is long gone. It is now a system that gives people skills to be problem solvers. That a young man will develop an app. Now if you're to go into science, technology and innovation, that is the education, that's the education China is going for. That if it is internet, if it is, ICT you've taught these people, they can use that. That a young man will sit and say, no, instead of using this old way of working on roads, maybe we can use garbage and reconstruct, develop some material to work on the roads. That it is, so now the world is skilling and bring people who are problem solvers, not those that are working for others. So government has tried, you mentioned some of the good programs like the presidential initiative on skilling the boy and girl child. It's giving them skills, and I'm happy about that. Because now also looking at, because we have two types of youths in Uganda. We have the educated, the sonkos. The young lads that have gone to school, they're educated. We have those that the president talks about, his scientists. They are super. They even sent a satellite too. Then we have those that have not seen blackboards, the informal sector. Now, government, I'm happy that it developed a directorate called, known as the Director of Industrial Training. That even these who have not gone to school, but have acquired skills either on their own or they have learned them, they can grade them. I say, now for you have a diploma, they polish you a bit, and there you're to go.
Thanks for that, Robert. Now, according to the United Nations, it says that 50% of the 7.7 million Ugandans living in rural areas are neither educated or trained nor in employment, so they are left floating. Now, the skilling that you mentioned, and I stand to be corrected, I feel it is normally geared towards people that are in urban centers. Where does that leave, Sonko? Where does that leave the people in rural areas if we are told that 50% of 7.7 million of them are left floating, but the skilling projects that we have in most cases are centered in urban centers, in cities? So where are these people and how can they be helped? What should government do better to have them included?
Let me throw you back to the events that happened last week in Soroti during the International Youth Day celebrations.
Yes.
There was a lot of criticism that was, going towards the National Youth Council. And why is this so? When you look at some of the government, I've been looking through some of the government projects that have been geared towards, skilling the young people. And the government coming up with the National Youth Council was also one of those. Establishing the National Youth Council was to ensure that the young people are coordinated in order to create room for youth development and all of that. Now, when it comes to the criticism that the National Youth Council was facing, is that amongst the key points that they pushed out during their presentation before the president, many of them seemed not to address the many issues affecting the entire young population of the country.
They were being
they were
segmented.
rather limited.
Okay.
Because when it comes to the young people, there are lots of potentials for the young people basing on the various sectors. Now, for example, like Chantal has shared, that there are lots of other skills that young people have that we seem not to focus on. And many of the young people representatives in Uganda seem to be only lobbying for financial support every time they meet the president. And yet, in fact, we have young people now, like the statistic that you've just read out, if 50% of the 7.7 people who are in rural areas per se are not in training, nor are they in education,
or
now that leaves a worrying situation.
Yes.
Because you get to realize that there are lots of sectors where all these young people can get involved. Now, the worry is many young people are only driven to focus on only a few things. That is, let's say, agriculture, which at times becomes even more costly for some young people if at all they do not have money to input the different innovations or to make sure that they compete with other players in the agriculture sector. Now, we have so much talent in rural areas, for example, which talent as well can be an opener for youth development. With the just concluded Olympics per se, you get to realize that the eastern side of Uganda has been producing quite a number. And many were criticizing the government for only focusing on a few of the athletes, yet we do have quite a number of those talented athletes in the region. Now, when it comes to skilling, we've got to look at what are we putting in place. For example, when it comes to those in sports, are you putting in place different facilities that are going to support them, which we are trying, but again, we are falling short as a country. And then you look at those into furniture. You do let's say carpentry rather.
Carpentry,
you do realize
masonry.
that people who are in carpentry, many of them, if they have the chance to attend the technical institutions, then the better. But there are others who are only getting the chance because a private sector player is owning this carpentry shop.
So they are learning on the job, but they didn't get a chance to get
skills.
Okay.
And meaning they are being limited again to the skilling, because it takes us back to the worry of the old curriculum that you are employing a student because they have studied somewhere. Meaning if at all this person has not got the chance to study, they won't be skilled, they won't have the potentials of even starting up their own something.
Okay, thank you, Joram. Now, according to the census data, it reveals that 22.7%, that is about 10.4 million people, or 10.4 million of the population in Uganda are youth aged 18 to 30, while 55.6%, which is about 25.5 million people, are working age population and are between the ages of 14 to 64 years old. And still the same report shows that 50% of the 7.7 million Ugandans are living in rural areas and are left out when it comes to employment, when it comes to education, when it comes to entrepreneurship and decision making when it comes to their economic transformation. Now, Chantal, we are living in a world that has evolved. And back in the day where you had to either be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, a journalist, and some of those major fields that you had to be in for you to be recognized as someone who went to school. Today we have many new skills when it comes to technology and even other sectors and fields. So what are some of the skills that are mostly in demand, both informally and even formally?
Before I answer that question, you had asked a question earlier, and the question was about was about how the urban centers seem to be having more enlightened about youth scaling.
Yes.
And now I want to say that we cannot talk about youth scaling without talking about empowerment. And much as the two seem to be alike, they should be moving hand in hand, because when you're talking about youth empowerment, you're talking about even making sure that they have health facilities or they have access to health services. And when you talk about health services and accessibility, even some in the urban centers may not have easy access because of financial constraints. But then again, the most affected are those in the rural areas at the moment, because even access to money and also to even some of the government drugs that are given for free. Some youth can't access them because they have to move longer distances to be able to get them, and sometimes they're not even available in these health facilities.
And you know, when you mentioned about the rural areas, in regards to the skills on the market that are highly on demand, there is the issue of soft skills in the country.
Right.
That is high on demand, and many people in rural areas
and
not
this
aware.
is the question I had asked Chantal, because I need for us to understand when we say soft skills, what skills do we mean?
We're talking about communication skills,
what are these skills that are very much in demand in the job market and even business market today?
When you talk about things as simple as communication skills, do you know that sometimes this child goes out, finishes, say, campus, and they cannot even communicate effectively and efficiently. Yet it is a requirement for them to be able to succeed at their job where they intend to be.
When they're networking.
Thank you. Then talk about public speaking. Someone doesn't even have the confidence to stand and deliver. Someone goes to an interview and they cannot express themselves. It may look simple or seem simple, but at the end of the day, it's actually not, because this person has failed to couple what they learned in school with what should be propelling them to even perform better in their jobs.
Especially when you're in communities, and with today as well, you do realize even the digital skills are now on demand. Something that not so many of the institutions in Uganda are teaching or are skilling these young people with, because the markets are changing. Now everything is turning digital. You are paying for goods on into the cashless economy. You're looking at people who are filing reports. It's no longer the situation where you have to write. Now this time you have to type, email it to someone, or send it via a Word document or PDF. These are things that are high on demand in today's market and in today's employment world. Whether you are self-employed or not, you get to realize that you need some of these skills.
There are things like time management. It shouldn't be said, but it has to be said, because some do not even have those. Things like problem solving. Can you be in position? That bit is a big one. Talk about negotiation skills. You're not going to be in a sales department, for example, and your negotiation skills are lacking.
And
then
you
talk
also
about
need marketing skills.
Pardon?
Marketing skills.
Yes. Then talk about creativity as well. Now, now let's take a look at the media industry. You cannot survive in the media industry if you are not creative. But is someone even aware what is being done to improve their creativity? What is going to foster it to flourish? Those are some. They don't seem to be as important, because it's as if they are expected to have them. If you're working in the media, you are expected to be creative. Actually, someone referred to you as a creative. But what is being done to ensure that your creativity actually flourishes? What is being done to make sure that there is a training session, for example, that helps you even get more creative? Is there an environment that has been created?
Every sector, if you want more customers and more money,
you will need the creativity, yes.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Robert, I would like to come back to you. It's we do understand that it is important to skill the youth so that we can deal with youth unemployment in the country. But there is the question of vulnerabilities that the youth are experiencing. I'll give you an example. If a girl child has no access to things like sanitary pads, to things like access to medical care regarding her reproductive system and whatnot, she may have the skills, but she may not be able to, maximize her potential because of these vulnerabilities. So looking into some of the challenges they face in areas of that nature, how best can we help them? It takes you and I, the government, all of us collectively, to find solutions to some of the vulnerabilities that young people are experiencing.
Well, I must say the young people are experiencing a number of vulnerabilities. But to me, the biggest vulnerabilities, one is access to health, and automatically their government must come in and ensure that they have health as a right. Because health is a right. Not having health as a gift.
As a favor.
Or a favor. That Honorable so donated to us an ambulance, then a hospital,
take away when they lose
then come and we thank government it has built for us. No, let's look at health as a priority, as a right. Now, the other issue affecting the youth away from health could be education. Those that are yearning and trying, and because they don't have the funds for education. But when you skill them, so for me, I'd look at it that government should look at both the two categories of youth we have. And those in urban centers that are educated, those in urban centers that are not educated, and those in rural areas. what programs, what skilling programs can match them? Because today it seems we go for mechanical engineering, they brief some, we go for welding, carpentry, tailoring, bakery, but these may not work in the rural areas. So how do we how do we design particular programs for the youth to skill them in rural areas? For example, if they're in agriculture, how do we give them those skills they need to benefit from what they plant? When you go to these villages, these young boys are in agriculture, balima. They will find them, they are the ones, every season they're in maize, they don't have the pesticides. They don't have the modern methods. They don't have the skills. They have not been ignited to innovate. If you went to Bukedia, not Bukedia, Butebo today, the Honorable Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Honorable Monica Mosenero, on Thursday should be having her Thanksgiving. But there's an exhibition of innovations from not Makerere graduates, but people they have picked from all walks of life, who have been helped to come out with various innovations. So how do we skill these young people that in what they are doing, they can better it, rather than thinking we come with something new to impact on them?
And we cannot have a one-size-fits-all kind of solution. Well, thank you so much, Robert. Now, I have a comment coming through. This one says, still they will skill the youth, but as long as the cost of living is so high and daily tax increase, they will fail to start up. So basically what he's saying is, yes, let's skill the youth, but we have to manage the cost of living and tax increase.
And it's 100%. We open up a business today, the next day you see URA coming, the other day KCCA comes to close shop, you're like, neighbor, no,
yeah, I understand.
When have I made, you've not even finished the 3 months of rent, there you surface.
Well, youth unemployment is a problem that Uganda is grappling with. I think it's not only Uganda, but since we are here, yes, Uganda. So skilling is very important, but we cannot have a one-size-fits-all when it comes to the youth. Robert rightly put it, we have youth in rural areas and we have youth in urban centers. And all of these youth have different needs. So they need different solutions to the challenges that they face wherever they are situated. And I believe that if we took skilling very seriously, then we would deal with at least half or even 70% of the youth unemployment in the country. But it takes collective effort from you and I and the government. My name is Olive, and I've been having this conversation with Chantal Olive, Jerome Paul Sonko, and Robert Chirabo Nyonyitano. Stay tuned because we still have so much more for you on Good Morning Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Mukoke Fish Farmers Association tuli balunzi ba byananda ebyebika ebisatu omuli Miracap, tilapia oba engege ni catfish twete male. Group eno twatandika twali abantu basatu nga tulingirira obwetaavu obwebyenanda obwivwa okubona nti tufuna okasente akava mu maadi agali gatambula butambule nga gatubita ku wano ng'ekirabo. twatandika ne fish pond ndala mu mwaka gw'2018 twebaza fisheries officer ni district ya Bugiri babanga batulagirira kusaani fish farm ebwikwe inside day ndeyo twabanga tusobola okufuna kwetusaako obugege obwasooka era mu mwaka ogwali 2020 awo basobola okubanga batuwaayo ebyenanda emitwalo $40 okuva mu operation were creation era okuba yongerezaako emmere yatuweebwa okuva Uganda Poultry Breeders. Twasobola okubanga tusoloza akasente akawerera obukayire nga 42 twasobola okubanga tubuinvestinga oba okubona nti twongerezaako ku bimu ku bintu bye tukola gano bebaza gavumenti yaife okubanga buli saawa efaayo okubanga efeeri y'Abannayuganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome back to the GME Tourism Express. We are still in Uwek and having that experiential tourism, like getting so close to the wildlife, getting so close to the different species that call Uwek a beautiful haven. And we are meeting the rhinos today. Did you know that you can only spot rhinos here at Uwek and then Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary? Those are the only two places in the country where you can spot the rhinos. One thing that has just amazed me right now is that rhinos can actually weigh from 1.8 tons. I mean tons to 2.5 tons. Imagine, I think I weigh about 47 kilograms, but a rhino weighs up to 1.8 tons. That is amazing. So here we are, and we are getting close to the rhinos with Aine. He's still taking us around, and he's going to tell us more things interesting about the rhinos.
My name is Aine Magara Anwell, and I'm a zookeeper here at Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center, and today we are going to talk about the rhinos, their care, their management, their general husbandry, how do we take care of them. And these ones here are referred to as 1,000 white rhinos, and rhinos are the second largest animals after the elephants. So we have two species of rhinos. We have the black rhinos and the white rhinos. And the white rhinos are subdivided into two: the northern white rhinos and the 1,000 white rhinos. The ones we have over here are the 1,000 white rhinos. And rhinos in Uganda are regarded as extinct in the wild. Extinct in the wild, I mean you cannot see them anywhere in their natural environment other than at the zoo or in a sanctuary. Uganda had a population of over 3,000 rhinos. We had what we call the northern white rhinos in Ajai, Pianupe National Park. We had rhinos so many, but by 1980 we had 0. They were all poached. And what do people poach them for? This horn you see over here.
What is it? Is it like ivory?
It's like ivory, but it is keratin. Keratin is a protein you find in your nails and hair. So it literally doesn't cure anything, but people kill this whole huge animal only to get
this horn.
Yes, only this horn, which is basically for traditional medicine, but scientifically doesn't cure anything.
Aine, first question.
Yes.
Because you know that most of the species that you have here, you attain them from somewhere. Where did you get the rhinos from?
These ones were specifically from a sanctuary in Kenya. It was the same batch that went to Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. They came in 2000.
So how old is this?
They have been here for the last 24 years. This is the female. The female was 1 year. and the male was 18 months by the time it came. So she's 25, he's 26.
When you talk about the age of these rhinos, I'm definitely expecting that
Mm.
they should have young ones right now.
Mm.
What is really stopping them? Why aren't you breeding these rhinos here?
One of the major theories is that competition is required, or what we call the sex ratios. It may be male and female, but we need more than one male so that the female can be receptive. So we probably need another male, but I mean, these are not cows, these are rhinos. You cannot wake up and get another rhino just like that. But also, one of the major mandates to why these rhinos came here was conservation education. How do we tell the story to the public to conserve these unique dying species? And we are achieving that. The reason why Ziwa was set up was for breeding, and they are also achieving in the breeding part. So, but we would be excited to see baby rhinos.
What do you feed, apart from this dry grass, what else do you feed them on?
Rhinos are grazers. They feed on grass, basically short grass. That's why probably you see tall grass in their enclosure. They feed on short grass. We feed them on hay, which is dry grass. We also do what we call cut and carry. We have a farm, we cut grass on a daily basis fresh, and we give them. But also we give them what we call horse pellets, or they are more in a pellet form. But also we give them mineral brocks for vitamins, yes, and other trace elements.
What are some of the challenges? Okay, maybe when you talk about maybe the rate at which they fall sick, how do you treat them? The veterinary part of these rhinos, how do you treat them? How do you take care of them when they fall sick?
These rhinos have quite a very good immunity. I have not seen them get serious ill to put them down, but they get some injuries. They usually fight with each other, so some of the wounds are aggressive wounds. So we usually have oxytetravet, which is an antibiotic for wounds, maybe some discharges from the eyes, and you get eye drops for them. Yeah.
How do you apply like now the eye drops?
But he's very close. I can get very close to her.
She doesn't fight back?
No. You see? So if you can get that close, and also these rhinos don't sleep here, they sleep in the holdings. So there is like a walkway where they pass, which is small, so you can, in case of any intervention, you can apply the wound spray, the eye drops, whichever veterinary intervention you want to carry out.
I've seen you mixing some of the grazers together, species that graze together. Why are there other species in these specific paddocks for rhinos?
Probably as a result of probably space and the feeding requirements. But if we had probably much bigger land, we'd mix them with some of the grazers.
But they don't have any issues with other grazers?
No. For us, they have their space, they are okay. Everyone will remain in their space.
In terms of character and behavior,
behavior-wise, one, rhinos are purely grazers. They feed on grass. So that in terms of feeding. Elephants are both grazers and browsers. They can feed on leaves. They can at the same time feed on grass. Tip I give to the visitors and the clients that are coming to see these animals have feelings as well. So when you try to disturb or harass them, they feel very angry. When you find lions sleeping, please, they like sleeping, let them sleep. Don't throw stones and empty bottles at them. just respect them, look at them, appreciate them without you harassing them.
Well, good morning and thank you very much for sticking around to Good Morning Uganda. I am Joram Paul Sonko. It's Wednesday. It's a fair one, I should say, and we're moving on swiftly into the month of, to the last days of the month of August as we are waiting for the month of September, which, of course, is one of those few months that clearly show us that the year is coming to an end. Now, it is time for us to talk matters business, but before we do so, we do have some birthday greetings coming in from one of our viewers who is also part of the Good Morning Uganda family, because we do believe that you as our viewer are part of us. Now, this is a message coming in from Cricket Derek Gagamel from Makindye Luwafu, heading out to the lady on screen, and that lady is Lunkuse Kotrida, who is a choir mistress of St. Pius Massaja Parish. And all of those that go to the same church want to wish you a happy belated birthday. And as you celebrate your new age, they say that may the Almighty lift you up to meet all your desires as you're such a loving and caring and ambitious young lady. They do appreciate your services, and for the Friends of Heaven Youth Choir, St. Pius Massaja Parish. This is a message coming in from Cricket Derek Gagabel from Makindye Luwafu. And well, we do wish you a happy birthday. Now, away from that, we head to business, and our first business report is coming in from the August House, because members on the Finance Committee that is in Parliament have expressed dissatisfaction with the criteria used by the Uganda Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Finance for selecting entities eligible for tax waivers. Now, the State Minister for Finance in charge of general duties, Henry Musasizi, presented 8 entities to the committee, and the members of Parliament questioned why J2E Investment Corporation Limited, which had a contract with the Ministry of Defence for work at Kaweweta Military Barracks, should be exempted from 2.7 billion shillings taxes despite having more. Now, the State Minister for Finance in charge of the general duties, Henry Musasizi, and officials from the Uganda Revenue Authority had appeared before the Finance Committee of Parliament to provide information on taxpayers and both entities and individuals seeking tax waivers. Now, besides that, this was following a communication dated December 12, 2023, which had been addressed to the Speaker of Parliament, that is Right Honourable Anita Ann Among, from the Minister of Finance, Honourable Matia Kasaija. Now, this communication questioned the waiver request by the Minister of Defence and Veteran Affairs for MS J2E Investment Corporation Limited. Now, this company seeks a waiver of about 2.7 billion shillings in interest accrued during the construction works at Kaweweta Military Training Barracks. Now, the contractor faced investigations by the Inspectorate of Government and had its work suspended. Now, the several members of Parliament were seeking clarification on the criteria of granting these waivers. Now, other MPs further expressed concern that the ministry did not provide crucial information such as the memorandum and articles of association and audited accounts, which are essential for assessing a business's health. Now, according to URA, the information on the memorandum and articles of association is held by the Uganda Registration Service Bureau, as URA focuses on directorship rather than the ownership bit of it. Now, other taxpayers who are seeking tax exemptions include MS Nikotra Limited, and there is Busoga University, which has a total of 763 million Ugandan shillings accrued of taxes. Then Nkumba University of pay-as-you-earn liability of about 4 billion Ugandan shillings. Then the minister has also withdrawn Kananura Donati's request for exemption of 1.2 billion from the same list. And away from that, we now head to the breweries industry, because the Uganda Breweries Limited has reported a 12% sales growth, according to the latest reports coming in from there. Now, Uganda Breweries Limited, a subsidiary of the Uganda Securities Exchange listed East African Breweries Limited, has reported a growth in net sales of up to 12% in the year 2024. Now, during the briefing with all media houses at the company's factory in Luzira, the managing director, Andrew Kilonzo, also noted that the brewer is focusing energies on attaining carbon neutrality in the next 7 years, which is also a complete transition from diesel-powered industry operations. Now, he also added that Uganda is currently losing billions in taxes as a result of illicit alcohol on the market, and quite a number of other players who seem to sell market that does not meet the international standards. Now, with the recent reports also revealing that the sector accounts for 65% of market share in Uganda, that is the breweries industry, and government seems to be losing about 600 billion shillings every year to such players who are dealing in illicit or who are selling illicit alcohol over the years. Well, now lastly, from business news this morning, we head to the Forex exchange to see how different currencies have been faring on the exchange. And these are figures coming in from the central bank. And please do note that these updates coming 3 times daily, Monday to Friday. Now, the US dollar was buying at 3,718.77 shillings, while selling at 3,728.77. By midday, the US dollar was buying at 3,718.41 shillings, while selling at 3,728.41. Closing time, the US dollar was buying at 3,718.18 shillings, while selling at 3,728.18 shillings. The Great Britain pound was buying at 4,026.57, while selling at 4,839.55. The euro was buying at 4,119.00, while selling at 4,130.08. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.82 shillings, while selling at 28.90 shillings. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.37 shillings, while selling at 1.38 shillings. The South African rand was buying at 209.61 shillings, while selling at 210.17 Ugandan shillings. Well, that does it for our business updates. I'll be back tomorrow morning to give you more from the world of business. Chantal Oliver Kandinda is here with the traffic updates. Good morning.
As I was saying, the Kampala-Jinja Highway seems to be having no traffic whatsoever. Chireka Road also has no traffic. So if you are someone that uses Kabaka Road side as well, there is no traffic at all. Continuing on to the Kampala-Jinja Highway, there is still no traffic all the way. And as you can see, the only time you're going to get to places that have slow movement is when you get to Banda side, the side of Banda taxi stage, Banda Close as well, you'll be finding slow movement. But and then after that, if you are exiting town trying to join Banda, you'll be finding traffic. But for you who is trying to make your way to town, there is no traffic whatsoever on this road. And even those that are coming from town, right behind there is no traffic. But when you are closing into the junction that has Spear Motors, usually that's what they call it, you'll be finding a lot of traffic. For you who is headed to town, for you who is coming from town, it is just slow movement, but nothing for you to worry about, because later on there will be smooth flow of traffic. Now, if you're joining what we call the Nakawa Ginger Road, you will be finding no traffic as you are now branching off. But if you're continuing on to the Kampala Ginger Highway, you'll be finding bits and pieces of slow movement and parts that have some traffic as well. If you're coming from Tinda, there is just slow movement, and if you're exiting to Ntinda Road, you'll be finding traffic on that road. So if you are, but then again, it's just for a few minutes and you'll be okay to move, so that is nothing for you to worry about. Nakawa Ginger Road has no traffic at all, and if we're using this very same road to connect to Chinawataka as well has no traffic. Please note, Chinawataka connects you to Bugolobi side, so if you are someone that is trying to connect to Bugolobi, then maybe you should use this road because there is no traffic in there. As you can see, even Chwatu Road has no traffic, Olusimbi Road as well has no traffic at all. So if you are using it to join Bugolobi side, well, I guess you should actually go ahead and use this route because it has no traffic. Now, when you proceed on to the Kampala Ginger Highway, it is marked with some traffic in the middle there. Nakawa side has traffic, as you can see, right until you connect to the traffic lights that take you to the Newport Bell Road. You'll be finding traffic, but after crossing through, there is no traffic when you continue on to the Kampala Ginger Highway. Now, when you look at Newport Bell Road as well, if you're using it to connect to Nakawa, there is no traffic. So I suggest you use this one as if your workplace or your destination is Nakawa, or if you're going to go through Nakawa. Now, when we proceed on to the Kampala Ginger Highway, as you can see, slow movement, but everything is okay. And as you can see, 4th Street has no traffic as well. 3rd Street, no traffic, just slow movement. But when you get inside there is no traffic. 1st Street, both inside and as you're getting to it, there is no traffic at all. Still on the Kampala Ginger Highway, just slow movement as you are approaching the Wampeo Clock Tower. Old Port Bay Road has slow movement for you who is exiting Old Port Bay Road, trying to join either Kampala Ginger Highway or Ginger Road, or trying to join the Wampeo Clock Tower. But if you are exiting the Clock Tower, joining Old Port Bay Road, you are safe to move. Remember, you can still use this route to connect to Bugolobi if you want to go that side. If you proceed onto Ginger Road, you'll be finding a lot of traffic as you are now moving towards the Ginger Road lights. If you are exiting town after the Ginger Road lights, you'll be finding no traffic. If you're joining Wampeo Avenue, there is no traffic, as you can see. The only time you'll be finding a bit of traffic is if you are from Wampeo Avenue trying to join the clock tower, either to join Kampala Ginger Highway or trying to cut through, to go through the roundabout or to negotiate the roundabout. But after that, there is no traffic, only if you are not joining Ginger Road. Now, Yusufulule Road has no traffic, and today the Winton Road has some bit of traffic if you are branching off from Yusufulule trying to join the Winton Road. You'll be finding a bit of traffic, but after that, inside there is no traffic that you should be worried about. Please note, the Winton Road connects you to Saidi Bar Road, also connects you to Parliamentary Avenue. So if you can use that instead of going all the way to Nile Avenue, well, you can actually use that. Now, onto Nile Avenue, Chintu Road has a bit of slow movement as you're approaching the roundabout on Nile Avenue, but after that, there is nothing for you to worry about. Clement Hill has no traffic, just slow movement in the middle there. Now, Corridon Road has no traffic, as you can see. Shimoni Road as well has no traffic, and there's just a bit of slow movement on Yusufulule Road because of the traffic lights at the Fairway or at the Golf Club. And Yusufulule Road, when you continue, has a bit of traffic for you who is trying to proceed onto Yusufulule Road to either join John Babiha or proceed onto Yusuf Ole Road, you'll be finding some traffic. And if you are coming from John Babiha or the Acacia Avenue or Acacia Road, you'll be finding no traffic, except if you choose to use the access route that has the Windsor Crescent. That is where you'll be finding traffic. And after that, there is no traffic at all on the John Babiha or Acacia Avenue Road. There is no traffic at all. Only that if you are approaching the junction that takes you to Mabua Road, that is where you'll be finding traffic on there. If you plan to use Kololo Hill Drive, I suggest you brace yourself for some traffic, especially as you're moving towards joining the main road of John Babiha. Cooper Road has no traffic. Chira Road, you'll be finding lots of traffic at the junction that takes you to either Kayunga Road or proceeds onto Acacia Avenue or proceeds into further into Chira Road, but that's because of the junction. After that, there will be no traffic that you should be worrying about. And well, we can't do more than that, but briefly, if you are using Moanda Road, brace yourself, bits of holdups and some traffic as well. But at the end of the day, usually Moanda Road does not seem to be as slow as some of the roads. Actually, the other parts of Moanda Road seem to be okay for you to use. And well, that's it for our traffic updates this morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, may don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Ankole segment. Learn about the fabrication of Ankole Kingdom from Nkore at the detriment of Mpororo states. What is the glue that holds together peoples of the beautiful village of milk and honey?
Ankole as a kingdom came about in 1901.
Ankole is a colonial fabrication.
And all these so small kingdoms were counties of the original Itara.
Ruhinda Rwanjunachi,
The son of Wamara Arhanjanjo Ruhabwera,
who was a Mtrezi.
There are times when we were Pamoja, the same people.
Tuko Pamoja? Catch this in Ishaka Bushenyi at Berlin Hotel on Saturday, 31st August, and in Barra at Las Vegas Garden Hotel on Sunday, 1st September 2024. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660.
Hello everyone! Welcome back to Uplift Official. Today's video is particularly important as we delve into natural ways to support cancer prevention. While there's no guaranteed method to prevent cancer, incorporating certain lifestyle choices can contribute to overall well-being and potentially lower the risk. So, let's jump into the top 10 natural ways to support cancer prevention. Number 1. Maintain a healthy diet. Fill your plate with a rainbow of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. These nutrient-packed foods provide antioxidants and essential nutrients that support overall health. Next up is regular exercise. Engage in activities you enjoy, whether it's walking, jogging, or dancing. Exercise not only helps maintain a healthy weight, but also boosts your immune system and promotes overall well-being. Number 3. Maintain a healthy weight. Maintaining a healthy weight is crucial. Excess weight, especially around the abdomen, is linked to an increased risk of certain cancers. Aim for a balanced diet and regular physical activity to achieve and maintain a healthy weight. Number 4. Quit smoking and avoid tobacco. If you're a smoker, one of the most impactful steps you can take is to quit. Smoking is a major risk factor for several cancers. Avoiding exposure to tobacco, including secondhand smoke, is equally important. Number 5. Limit alcohol consumption. Moderation is key when it comes to alcohol. Limit your intake to 1 drink per day for women and up to 2 drinks per day for men. Excessive alcohol consumption is associated with an increased risk of certain cancers. Number 6. Protect yourself from the sun. Protecting yourself from the sun is crucial for preventing skin cancer. Use sunscreen, wear protective clothing, and avoid prolonged sun exposure, especially during peak hours. Number 7. Stay hydrated. Staying hydrated is often overlooked, but plays a vital role in overall health. Drink an adequate amount of water daily, and limit sugary drinks and excessive caffeine intake. Number 8. Manage stress. Stress management is essential. Practice techniques such as meditation, yoga, or deep breathing exercises to reduce stress levels. Chronic stress can have a negative impact on the immune system. Number 9. Regular health checkups. Regular health checkups and screenings are crucial. Detecting potential issues early can significantly improve outcomes. Don't skip your scheduled appointments with healthcare professionals. Last, but certainly not least, prioritize sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night. Adequate sleep is essential for overall health and may support a healthy immune system. And there you have it, our top 10 natural ways to support cancer prevention. Remember, these lifestyle choices contribute to overall well-being, but they're not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and share it with your loved ones. Thanks for joining us today, and I'll see you in the next video.
Amaina nize Makaka Moses nsangibwa banenankoma ku kyalo kyebeta Nankoma C Village okuli office da Baida yetweta Bugiri Agribusiness Institutions Development Association. Kibina kino kyabalimi zana umbrella nti kigaita a group entono dira nkaga na 5 kyatandika 2006 nga sasaka Global 2000 for mobilization to send the World Food Program. Vava twakirigisita nga 2007 2010 twafuna store eno batuvaago government yaidamu the National Agricultural Advisory Services twatandika okuba nga tubalime tu benefitinga munadisi ainga tuzira collection center twafuna trainings okuva mu partners nga twegere enime omulembe twenda okukola validation n'okunonya obutale tufunye mu tutya government student program mu 2009 yaida yatuba a tractor era erikukola mu kulima okongera ku kulima ekade yongereku mu 2039 nati yatuya echuma bufwa batu watichemera kwa singo na kotola kutefunira road shading echuma kiri kubira abantu ona kuchingiza abantu abaida community okuva eba member ni bana ni member kuko access ga service officer era kifuna gati ga abantu okuva ku bantu asatu ku 12 a day. Otherwise ife tusima government of the Republic of Uganda nti ebintu bye tugaire tubitale mu nkola ebe tulisa another step nti abantu tulikusomesa abana tuzimbye amayumba tubufuna bulungi.
Ajuko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Ajuko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and thank you for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. I'm Robert Cherabo Nyonyitono, and this morning we are going to be discussing something very important for the people of Kampala. It's very important in the sense that if it's not dealt with any time from now, we may have an outbreak of a number of diseases in the city, most prominently or likely to be would be even a cholera outbreak. Now that is the garbage crisis in Kampala. We all remember it's now coming to about 3 weeks when we had the Chitezi landfill incident where we lost lives. Numbers keep growing by day as rescue or recovery processes go on by the experts at this site. And of course, government is taking a number of steps at such a point, like the government land valuer is there to value to ensure that those in the 200-meter buffer zone leave, those that are in the tents around being also helped in a number of ways and some getting treatment. But that is not our immediate focus, though we can't go away from that. However, we want to look at the garbage crisis. If you've moved around town of late, you'll find heaps of garbage. Some collecting centers of these companies that were picking garbage from your home, now they have collected it, placed it somewhere, and they have no alternative place to take it. KCCA seems also stranded because one of the land that they had bought in Dundu some time back, it seems that cannot be used as a dumping site for garbage. There's even a court case. Now, in Entebbe also, there are challenges. Today it seems a green light, we wake up tomorrow it's a red light. Now people are stranded. And joining me on set this morning, I have the Deputy Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority, Engineer David Luyimbazi. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much. Good morning, viewers. And I'm happy to be here with you so that we can share with you the challenges we're facing and how we are trying to deal with them in the moment.
Before even we go deep into that, Engineer, briefly, when we talk about the Chitezi incident, there are so many questions that remain unanswered. But just to get it from you, the people from the authority, people have been eager. What exactly didn't we do?
There are so many things that didn't happen, but they didn't happen because of challenges we have as a country. We run a deficit budget as a country. That means many activities remain unfunded. Not every ministry, department or agency gets all the resources it needs. Now Chitezi unfortunately became a victim of facing unfunded priorities as we moved along the years. Then of course the challenge of the fact that Chitezi reached capacity as such and we couldn't get out of it. Because to leave Chitezi you need to decommission it. To decommission it you need money. Now to go where you're going.
Now to a lay person watching, I don't want to confuse my viewer.
Decommissioning it.
Decommissioning, what does that mean?
That means you stop its use, but you must bury it.
Bury?
Yeah, you must bury it. Burying it means, because right now it has these stench coming out of it, there are flies coming out of it, there is leachate, that liquid, black liquid that is toxic, gets out of it. You must stop all those environmentally undesirous effects of the landfill. They smell. So you kind of entomb it, you put it in its grave, so it stops the environmental damage. Now that requires money. Now where you're going, you need to also prepare the ground so it can receive. You have to build cells so that you can be able to again put waste in kind of a pit. You begin growing it from a pit inside the ground. But now that is one thing. So the lack of budget means we couldn't live there, we couldn't go to where we want. Then of course the population explosion in Kampala and Wakiso, the greater Kampala. The population has been growing. Kampala, for example, 10 years ago had a population about 2 million during the day. Now we have 5 million people per daytime population. Now you can imagine that the garbage production is almost 2.5 times, because each one on average produces about half a kilogram of garbage every day. Now that explosion meant that we are putting more pressure on Chitese. Then of course the other issue, there are national physical planning standards that require a buffer to be in place around the landfill. Even if you own the land, the use of that land is limited. You cannot now develop residential houses around it. Now those physical planning standards were abused. So the population came close to the landfill. If the buffer was respected, even if an accident happened, people would be a safe distance away from the landfill. So it's a culmination of factors that happened at the same time, and unfortunately also the poor. We have a weather that is not convenient for landfills, in that when it is wet, the landfill becomes structurally unstable. Because now the foundation is underwater, is saturated. That means it is weaker, so it can dance. Now if the activity is on the landfill, they can compromise its integrity and it can collapse like it did. So we don't know which factor contributed most to what happened, but it was a combination of effects that resulted into the unfortunate incident.
Yes, you've just pointed direction on the weather pattern, that under there is water coming out, so it's almost
unstable.
Yeah. Then when the weather does the shaking, the strong winds, it becomes a problem.
Okay, another issue again, which is again due to lack of resources, because ever since the incident I've had interaction with a number of people, we didn't have like an effective monitoring system on the landfill. You know, you can have sensors that can detect strange noises if the earth is moving. People can get a lead time of at least 5 minutes before the waste slide happens. You can begin to evacuate people. So you can detect movement of the earth. There are smart sensors that can be installed. And moving forward, you can have drones running around to make sure that even you can remotely warn people that there is a danger coming. Now again, the lack of such systems meant that the vulnerable people who are around the landfill could not get adequate warning to be able to get out of harm's way in time.
I'm so interested in the fact that the would-be buffer zone, people had houses on it. How did this happen?
Okay, the controlling authority in where the landfill is the Kasangati Town Council.
Okay.
And of course, I wouldn't want to lay blame on the Kasangati. We have a duty as citizens to make sure we observe planning laws. Even in Kampala, we have so many illegal structures. People are built in wetlands, built on drainages. Again, it is our responsibility to make sure that we put our developments in places that are allowed. Such dangers can be avoided by making sure you have authority, permissions. So in that particular case, I don't know what happened in Kasangati, but I'm sure most of them were illegally developed. Because again, you should know that the landfill is a source of livelihood. There are people who derive employment from the landfill. So the waste pickers, people who pick waste, including children who go to the landfill, because the quality of life within that corridor is unbearable. To bear it, you must have an incentive, and that is depending on the landfill for employment.
Well, that is the explanation of what could have caused the unfortunate incident that happened in Chitezi. As you can see on your screen, it is almost a mountain of garbage. One would say not a hill, but a mountain of garbage. And we lost a number of lives there. We have the rescue, or those carrying out search have not ended, so we still wait to see what will the final tally be of lives, because we do not expect anyone to be rescued alive by now. But rather, if it is, that must be then a body. So we shall only be sure at the end of the entire process how many lives have, how many bodies have been gotten from that by Uganda Police and the rescue teams that are there carrying out that work. Now, engineer, this happens and the garbage problem comes up. First, we knew that some years back, KCCA got taxpayers' money and purchased land to be another landfill. Then, how does this happen? We have, first, it was supposed to be decommissioned. You say there's lack of resources. One would accept that. But then you had bought another piece of land. Why didn't you rather move to another piece of land as you waited for money to come and decommission this one?
There are a number of issues. Again, to move to a new location, you need resources to develop it, either as a landfill or a factory that processes waste. Whatever you do, you need resources. Then there was community resistance. The community there in Mukono, that place called Dundu, resisted and even went to court, objecting to their location, their neighborhood, being used as a landfill to build a waste mountain like it is in Chitezi. Of course, we also have to respect community grievances or concerns. And our plan has been to establish a waste factory that processes waste to energy. Converts waste into valuable products, so that waste is no longer waste. Waste is something of value. So we had by the time of the incident been engaging about 2 investors, because since government didn't have money, went to the private sector. Let the private sector invest and then recover its investment through either tariffs or selling products on the market. So that's where we're going. That's the direction we're going regarding waste, because the issue of building waste mountains is not a good thing environmentally or good for the city. We're moving towards green cities, having smart cities. You cannot have a smart city while you're running garbage the way Chitezi is run.
Definitely you can't. So in Dundu we can say it was rejected, and therefore KCCA cannot use that land because there is a court case.
And we also didn't want to continue with Chitezi. We inherited the Chitezi issue.
Yes.
The way waste was being disposed, in that you're building a waste mountain. Moving forward, we wanted to change the narrative, move away from landfills to waste, to turning waste into something of value. You can get electricity out of waste. You can get briquettes, which can be able to replace charcoal and firewood and all. You can turn waste into fertilizers. You can turn waste into feed for chicken and other animals. So waste becomes something of value. You can imagine the organic waste that comes from the markets. It's very rich in proteins and that can be used to feed our animals. Now all that is dumped and wasted in Chitezi. Imagine we conserve it and use it to something that can help either improve agriculture, improve farming. So we are losing by going to dump this waste in Chitezi. We're losing as a country. The country is throwing away something of value.
Now let's look at the crisis KCCA is facing and people of Kampala are facing. You do not have an alternative place as of now, because we were told you're using the Nkumba, and then there we saw the management, the authorities there, saying one day they are okay, the next day they are doing things otherwise. So what is the current state of garbage management in Kampala?
Of course, we're in a state of a crisis in that we are living by the day. I think the Entebbe municipality had given us up to Monday to stop dumping there. So, but our colleagues in Entebbe should realize that this is a national crisis. garbage generation is not a problem for Kampala alone. We need to work together, and we've made some pledges. We've wanted to improve the access roads that access that dumping site. We've tried to assure them that even if they give us 2 or 3 months, we can actually dump our garbage and even take it away once we get a good place to dispose it. But we need time to get a good place to dispose it. But somehow politics has entered into the discussions. But this is a social problem that we should be able to deal with. In fact, I sympathize with the mayor of Entebbe. He's tried his best, but he doesn't hold the entire decision on his own. He has to depend on the council to make a decision. So that has challenged us, but now the good thing, the Minister of Local Government has picked it up. The Minister for Local Government actually is going to convene a meeting to that 11. So, because it's a government issue. Chitezi is not only being used by Kampala. It is used by Mukono, Wakiso, Chira, and Makinde Sabagab. So the entire greater Kampala metropolitan area is afflicted by what is happening. All of them don't have where to dump. Now, if they don't have where to dump, what is happening is that people now are dumping waste in wetlands. They're dumping waste in drainage channels, which is going to harm our environment moving forward. It may look like something that should not concern anyone, but at the end of the day, when you see the flooding, when you see the disease outbreaks, these are the unintended consequences of leaving this problem for Kampala alone.
Now, what are some of the reasons that they are putting forward for KCCA not to be dumping?
Of course, when I went there, they told me Entebbe generates about 50 to 75 tons of waste every day. Kampala alone, we are taking there 1,500 tons of waste. So the pressure, they feel like the pressure and capacity of their dump site is going to be depleted much faster with Kampala deploying there. The other issue they raised, of course, the likely environmental damage in the neighborhood out of such large volumes being deposited is an issue. Then there's the issue of the Entebbe International Airport, the risk of bird strikes because waste attracts birds. So marabou storks will be trying to come closer to the stench that a waste dump will generate. Of course, we can come up with mitigation measures for this, but of course, those are the issues they raise. They have some genuine concerns, but in a times of crisis like this, we need to put in place mitigation measures. Like the rapid accumulation, we've said we can repatriate our waste once we get a good place to dump. Give us some time, some window to dump there. After those months, we shall evacuate that waste and take it away. The bird strikes, there are sensors you can use that can discourage birds from coming near waste. The environmental damage, we have deployed equipment. They didn't have equipment to manage the waste dump. We've deployed equipment in Katabi. We've deployed our excavators, our dozers to make sure we spread the waste and manage it. We've also tried to improve the roads that are serving the dump site.
Very interesting. It is all about saying what can be done at such a time as KCCA tries to look for a place to replace Chitezi, which can no longer be used, because we are very sure even after all that happened, that ceases ever to be a dumping site. Now, you're talking of 3 months. If they can give you 3 months, do you have any plans? Because I think the fear of Entebbe, I was speaking to one of the councillors, he said, we have nothing to prove that this will never turn into another Chitezi. Should we agree? Because we've not been given a systematic plan of either that is payment lagging. So what will happen is over a time, KCA will go into a comfort zone and then end up turning this landfill that cannot accommodate as much as they offer for a longer period. So what are plans for purchasing another piece of land? Is it there? Have you already discovered? Since Dundu can no longer apply.
Of course, now spearheaded by the Prime Minister of Uganda, Honorable Nabanja, we had come up with an action plan that was supposed to be considered by government to see that how do we respond to the disaster? How do we respond to the waste problem? in a sustainable way, and a budget was drawn up which was supposed to be considered by government, by cabinet, so that it is approved, and then we can be able to see what are the plans to be able to solve the waste problem. Of course, one key issue that comes up is that this issue of landfills should not be spread around the country. The consensus is that we keep the disposal of garbage in Chitezi. We'd rather relocate the people in Chitezi to Dundu and continue to use Chitezi, and then we transition from dump sites, from landfills to waste processing, recycling. As the
Did
city...
you repeat that? Rather than shifting the people of Chitezi that were affected to Dundu, because you have the land there.
No, rather than shifting the problem of disposing garbage on landfills to Dundu, you rather shift the people in Chitezi to Dundu and continue dumping in Chitezi. Then retire the practice of landfills in Chitezi there, and then move towards waste processing, that is recycling. You imagine now we leave a dump site in Chitezi, start a new one in Dundu. That is spreading a problem. That's not a good practice. You rather keep it in that location, relocate people, free land that you can continue to use as a landfill, then retire that practice altogether as you transition towards waste recycling.
Now, when we talk about waste recycling, we have a number of companies. When we used to go to Chitezi, you would find these selective collectors. Some were looking for plastics, others were looking for metals. Because one time I was there and I saw young boys who have like a string with a magnet, and they were moving around. I said, no, then the other ones were specified for plastic. Others were, there was a lot of business there happening. And it seems there are private companies into recycling. Now, when are we going that area? Because it seems it is something we should have done yesterday.
As I told you, whatever you do, resources need to be deployed. Now, those waste pickers you see there, they're picking at a scale that cannot solve Kampala's problems. We generate about 2,500 tons of waste. About 85% of it is organic. 15% is inorganic. Organic means it can decompose, it can rot. Inorganic, those are the plastics, the metals, the glass, and other things that cannot decompose. Now, the utilization of the decomposable garbage and non-decomposable garbage are different. The non-decomposable, you can be able to generate energy and other things, other products out of it. For these ones, mostly fertilizers and maybe feed for animals, yes. and fertilizers. Now, the scale at which those people are doing their business is so small to deal with the volumes we're talking about.
Now, government, I'm looking at deliberate plan for you to move, because rightly said, landfills is not sustainable. The population is increasing. We are still here for some time. And even the spaces right now, if you hear you're looking for land, one would think if land would readily be available, but because of the pressure onto it. Now, what is sustainable is recycling and seeing waste as a source of income, so that we no longer have that. But how soon are we going into that?
Now, of course, as I told you, we run a deficit budget, and to invest in a recycling plant requires resources. Now, in the absence of government having money to deploy, we're looking at the private sector. They're engaging private partners who are ready to invest. But of course, they need some guarantees in return. They need guarantees that we're going to supply them the waste. They need guarantees that in case they generate energy, government is going to give them power purchase agreements so that it can go on the grid. So, and then of course, they will need also outlets for the other products they produce. Good enough, there's enough market for fertilizers, there's enough market for chicken feed and other animal feed. So the only challenge there is that the production price for the power is higher than the government set tariffs. That means the gap must be dealt with using a subsidy. So those are the negotiations that are going on right now.
Well, viewer, you can be part of the show this morning by simply going on our social media platforms and send us a message. Now, you can use the WhatsApp number, the number you're seeing on your screen. You can send me a WhatsApp message or a text message as we look at the garbage crisis in Kampala, where now the issue of where finally these companies, where finally the stakeholders that collect garbage from your home dump it, because Chitezi is no more. And now that means there has to be an alternative place. We've had those in some of these companies talk about issues of so much fuel now needed. If I go to the messages, that even if we set off on the Nkumba, there is...
Don't do Nkumba.
No, Nkumba, where we are now. Because I was asking a number of them that why are we, if there is where you're dumping now, temporarily, KCCA, why aren't you collecting as much as you could? They gave issues of distance. They gave issues of cost of fuel. Said, well, we'd make about 3 rounds a day. Now a truck can go once or twice. They gave time constraints, that there we can only end, I think, around 8, no more. So they gave all these as excuses. But most importantly, they said, now garbage collection is going to increase. What I'm paying this company that picks garbage from me because of fuel costs, already we've been paying using an arm and leg. Now again they're saying, no, the cost is going to go high because this is a longer distance.
True.
We make fewer trips, so the burden goes back to you, the final consumer of the services we offer.
That is correct. I mean, Chitezi is about probably 17 kilometers from Kampala. Nkumba is 32 kilometers, about 32 kilometers from Kampala. Dundu is even further, 45. That means the haulage distance is longer. That means the fuel requirements are higher. And who absorbs that cost must be the generator of the garbage. So that's why I say this is a social issue, and you cannot host or keep your garbage within your home. You have to find a way of disposing it.
Well, let me look at some of the messages here, and one says here, thank you, Robert, for having the ED, but my question is, please let's make them a bit shorter. Kindly make them shorter. Where were they? It was out of neglect. And says Moses, where were they? It was out of neglect. Another one also in a similar way says, they knew this would happen, but did nothing at all. Now lives are lost. Then says, thank you, Robert, for the show. This is Muhindo Moses. My challenge is that now it is us to suffer. Yet we have the technical team who took over the politicians, and we believe they are technocrats and have the technical know-how. Then why did this happen? Good morning, and thank you for the show. The challenge with our government is not lack of funds, but getting priorities right. Why didn't KCCA prioritize Chitezi? There is so much that they have prioritized, leaving such a danger, yet they knew. Most of the messages, engineer, coming in today seem to be pointing in one direction. They knew and did nothing. Then one says, if the other local government has refused, then what is KCCA going to do? He earlier talked about the fact that the people of Dundu even went to court and rejected. Supposing others also do the same. Engineer, tell us, we are worried of the outbreak of cholera, like Robert earlier said. First go with those ones.
Now, of course, the issue of the blame game, where were they? It is us going to suffer, we're also going to suffer. Why didn't KCCA prioritize KCCA? I don't want to be here to apportion blame. As I said, like in your home, your children don't have everything they need. Your home doesn't have everything it needs. The same way, that's how government also operates. That's why we have a deficit, we run a deficit budget. We cannot provide for every single ask that every ministry, department, agency needs in order to provide service to the public. We don't have those resources. That's a fact. Unfortunately, so apportioning blame now is not something I would want to go into. There were so many things did not go right out of the culmination of factors that are outside the individual control of KCCA. Now, the issue of if other local governments refuse, what are we going to do? The good thing, this thing has been escalated. It's now at cabinet level. It's now also at Ministry of Local Government level, where all local governments report, so that this thing is dealt with collectively at a national level. An answer will be found at national level on what will be done regarding where we deposit, how long we can continue with landfills, and how we transition to recycling.
I think the fears have been dealt with. Government is going to say it's no longer an issue of KCCA itself. But also there's the other issue, engineer, that you talked about. The community is rejecting. Because actually, with Dundu, it is the communities. There's a gentleman I saw proudly speaking. I went to court. There is a court. So this cannot be. It can't be. So, and we respect rights of people. And I don't think that anytime soon we may be going into the recycling you're talking about, which is a massive investment as well.
True. I mean, sometimes people look at these issues as though it doesn't concern me, it is their problem. Same issue that happened during COVID, where, you know, countries looked out other countries thinking it's a problem of other countries until COVID visited them. Then they saw that this is an international problem. So this issue of garbage, local governments and communities should look at it. This is our problem. Because the people in Kampala are related to the people in Mukono. The people in Entebbe have come and work in Kampala and go and reside in Entebbe. So we are intertwined. This problem cannot be left that, oh, Kampala, deal with your problem. This is a regional, national problem that we should look at from a public health standpoint, from a social responsibility standpoint, to see that we come up with a solution. The crisis in Chitezi was not like created or manufactured to create a problem for just Kampala. So I urge our neighbors and our citizens to look at this as something that we all need to contribute a solution to collectively, rather than leaving it to KC alone.
More coming in, let's just go. Here, Kampala garbage crisis, compensate people, transfer them to another land, use Chitezi as a dumping site and have the companies run there to recycle it. That is done.
That's not a bad idea.
Then within areas of communication, good morning. According to Kampala garbage crisis and Chitezi tragedy, what are the possible measures KCA is strategy planning for reallocating rubbish? When is the authority donating to those people on the field? Well, Mrs. Aldelin, I think I'll just come back to you. Please tell Engineer Luyimbazi, someone say me, moderator, please tell Engineer Luyimbazi, money is never enough, it is priority. Money flows to good ideas. Think outside or without the box. When will someone take responsibility and resign? Another question. That is Adongo Gakuru Guru City. Adonga Gakuru Guru City. Thank you so much for being with us. Then another one comes in. Good morning and thanks for the show. Nsugu Gabile from Kawempe. Why is it difficult for government to subsidize the power generated? Because this will help reduce the garbage load and bulk as well as producing power. But is the garbage amount enough to sustain a power generation plant?
I'm trying to write down the questions.
I hope I'm not so fast.
No.
Okay, good morning, UBC. Smith from Lubaga. Can you explain the presence of Chinese at the site before the tragedy? These people should stop politics at KCCA, otherwise they will remain. That end is not. Then the Attorney General Chirowa says that tariff for waste to energy is set at 12 cents with 2 cents being a subsidy. Have you taken any engagement or engaged any investor? Thanks. That is John. And greetings, thanks for the program. Mayor Tom from Busiro South Katabi, TC. Why can't we start sorting our garbage systems at our homes? We collect rubbish differently. Plastic alone, metals alone, and other food and plants, etc. This could save KCC of a lot in transporting costs. Garbage, KCC could earn money from plastics and manure. Nkumba dumping site is a delicate point to the lake. We are actually killing the lake directly. Now, please, have you gotten a clearance from NEMA to use Katabi Nkumba? We end with those.
Okay, thank you so much. The number of questions. Yeah, money is never enough. We need to prioritize. Again, they also point at which you have very little money that even prioritization is difficult. Of course, at a global level, government runs a deficit budget. At KCCA, we even have a worse situation. We're running at a budget of about 20% of the needs for the last 4 years. Now, in order to, we're not just prioritizing, we're innovating. Since government doesn't have money, we try to engage the private sector, so that private sector can come in and bridge the gap. And that's where we are. So to remain with the solution in sight while deploying other resources to complement government's challenges. So we're not just trying to prioritize now, we're trying to make sure we innovate. Someone should take responsibility and resign. Yeah, while resigning is something that one can do, but that's also being cowardly. We have a problem to deal with. If we resign and run, who's going to deal with the issues of where do we dispose? How do we rescue people who are currently in danger, who have been buried? You know, there are so many things that need to be done in the circumstances now before the resignation option is looked at. Then why are the volumes of garbage enough to sustain a viable industry that can go into recycling? The volumes are certainly enough. Because the volumes we're looking at are not only for Kampala, which generates about 2,500 tons of waste every day. We have Wakiso, we have Makinde Sabagabo. So you're looking at about almost 5,000 tons on a daily of organic and inorganic wastes. So any recycling plant will be more than supplied with enough volumes to be able to make a profit out of it. The issue of the presence of the Chinese, that issue of the Chinese is something that is a story that has been around. But I don't.
You are seen putting pipes into.
No, there was a group of Koreans. Since the government didn't have money to decommission Chitezi, we tried to get a Korean investor to come and invest in decommissioning of Chitezi. Now, to do that, they need to recover the investment through extraction of methane gas. That was in February. They did those gas tests in February of this year. They inserted pipes about 5 meters deep in the landfill and were testing to see are the gas volumes enough for them to be able to recover the investment. So they did that in February and left. So those are the only people who tried to insert pipes there in the landfill. But on the date of the accident, I'm not so sure this. I mean, the good thing we have national cameras, security cameras. It's very easy to pick up some of these details in case. The good thing is there's an investigation going on. Now the issue of the tariffs, the person who raised the question, yes, there's a tariff that the government has accepted, and the difference between the acceptable tariff and the production tariff that the investor wants, that requires a subsidy, and we had agreed to be able to cover that subsidy from our non-tax revenue. The mayor of Katabi says, why not sort garbage at source? This is the way forward, where we're heading. We shall need to sort garbage at source. It reduces costs and also increase efficiency of garbage processing. It also saves KC a lot of money in transportation, yes, and also earn us income at the end of the day. The issue of destroying the lake in Katabi, we plan to build a retaining wall and also construct a sock pit to be able to absorb the leachate, so the leachate doesn't go into the lake. Currently, Katabi is being operated without those interventions. So our going there, we had planned some mitigation measures to make sure that, yes, our volumes are so big, but let's also not cause a damage to a national resource of the lake while operating the Katabi landfill.
Well, Engineer, thank you so much for throwing light on some of the critical issues, most so regarding the Kampala garbage crisis. I must let you go, but let me just have your final remark.
Thank you so much, Robert. First and foremost, I want to condole with the people of Chitezi, the people who lost loved ones, the people whose lives have been turned upside down due to the recent wasteland that happened on the 8th of August. I want to assure you that government is going to do everything in its power to make sure we rescue most, if not all, the people who lost their lives. We're going to make sure that we mend the lives of those whose way of life has been affected, and we are not resting until this issue is sorted. The people of Katabi and Entebbe, I want you to try and appreciate that this issue of garbage that we are facing in Kampala is an issue that affects your sisters, your cousins that live in Kampala. The people in Entebbe come and have a way of life in Kampala. Please, let's make sure that we keep Kampala safe, clean and healthy. So let's work together to make sure we come up with a solution of where we can dump garbage in a safe and responsible way.
Thank you so much, Engineer David Luyimba, the Deputy Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority. Or Kampala Capital City Authority. Now, we've been looking at the garbage crisis. It's my prayer that one will expedite whatever we are doing, because the truth is this is a time bomb and we do not want it to explode, causing diseases like dysentery, cholera, and we again have other crises of how best we can handle these outbreaks. We hope monies are found, and we hope all that needs to be done is done properly to prevent also the occurrence of this, but also we use technology to go away from dumping sites into recycling and getting other forms of energies from this garbage. See you in the next hour. Ruben is here, then after we shall have Sonko, I, and Olive in the extra. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Ankole segment. Learn about the fabrication of Ankole Kingdom from Nkore at the detriment of Mpororo states. What is the glue that holds together peoples of the beautiful village of milk and honey?
Ankole as a kingdom came about in 1901.
Ankole is a colonial fabrication.
And all these so small kingdoms were counties of the original Itara.
Ruhinda Rwanjunachi,
The son of Wamara Rhanja Njojo,
who was a Mchwezi.
There are times when we were Pamoja, the same people.
Tuko Pamoja? Catch this in Ishaka Bushenyi at Berlin Hotel on Saturday, 31st August, and in Barra at Las Vegas Garden Hotel on Sunday, 1st September 2024. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.